Right, so I do have a pet peeve with some of the new languages, right? The thing that gets me about new languages is the lack of wisdom, right? So, and I have explored, I have had that instance where I've explored about I prefer new languages for the purposes of like, you know, vibe architecture, if you want to call it that, or just for the purposes of easing the process of programming. And the issue that I generally face with them is the lack of wisdom behind their implementation. Like, generally, what you tend to find with older languages is that the way they evolve is based on production experience in terms of how the what issues have been faced in the years of usage. And so when it comes to the newer languages, I imagine that there's a lack of that particular wisdom, even in terms of how exactly the language can be utilized to introduce specific principles of value. So that's my general, issue with that. But ultimately, I think that you can benefit from some of them, especially if they're coming from larger organizations. Especially like, so for example, like I'm not a big fan of Rust. Um, Zig, I see the guy from HashiCorp. Was he co-founder? Was he founder? I think it was founder, and then he had like a co-founder or whatever. He's using Zig, and he chose to use Go initially, even though he had C background and stuff like that. So they chose him and his co-founder chose to use Go when it was pretty much new, and they made a pretty successful product that grew into something amazing. Whereas the and now he's doing a thing called Ghosty, which is like a terminal, and that's going to be in Zig. So to me, that indicates some value in that programming language. But irrespective, I still see a great deal of value in C and C++. For me personally, as you know a person with aspirations to delve into vulnerability research at some point in time, and with an interest in Linux and operating systems, essentially. So I think that's beneficial. Golang for like infrastructure related things, but obviously I try to be civil in my approach because I need to be. You need to